I'm going to be doing a live reaction video today. So the first reaction video that I'm going to be reacting to is called Go Be Equal, Anti-Feminist Clashes with Journalist Over Women's Rights. So you may have seen this before, but basically Pearl went on Talk TV, and yeah, there were some heated debates on there, so let's take a look at that.
Pearl Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the clip that sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
Okay, well, Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santini, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you've been called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. You know, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about, but overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men.
Okay, look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
I personally don't think anybody should vote. So a lot of people, they find out that I work with Pearl and they're like, wait, Pearl's the one who said that women shouldn't vote. Does that not make you angry? Like, you're a woman. Does that not make you angry that she thinks that you shouldn't be able to vote? And I'm like, well, no, because I don't think anybody should vote. I don't think democracy is actually a thing which exists anymore in this country anyway. I think it's definitely an illusion of choice, and I think it's a delusion nowadays if you think that we do actually have any power over who runs the country and who has any control over us. I personally don't think anyone who is running is actually able to control us and have any good sort of effect on our lives. So I personally do not vote, and I think I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this, and I'm not going to vote. I used to when I was young and sort of disillusioned, and I believed it was a real, thing that we could do, but nowadays I don't believe it anymore. I've seen too many things go wrong. You know, what happened in America with Trump. I do believe that vote was rigged, and there's evidence to show that. So I think anyone who votes thinking that we have any influence on the way that the world runs is a bit deluded. So yeah, I don't have any problem with her saying that because I don't think anyone should vote.
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true. You look it up.
At the time.
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the vote?
Well, it also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the draft.
Okay, but specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family cohesion, for example?
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have 2 votes.
Ava?
That is true. Even though, obviously, like I just said, I don't believe in democracy in this day and age. I don't believe it's actually, I think it's just an illusion. But if it was to be a working system that we did still have, I don't believe that it is right for a family to be split in terms of voting for political parties, because that just causes, serious arguments, because obviously your political views do have a massive effect on your relationship. And yeah, it causes serious arguments. It leads to divorce as well, because if you see that you have a massive difference in opinion, then that can cause problems and arguments, and then cause you to feel bitter towards your partner, and then it will end in divorce eventually, quite possibly. So yeah, that's not right. And I can see where she's coming from with that. It definitely makes sense.
Your mouth seems to have dropped about.
No, do you know what
I
know. It's just sort of a bit galaxy brain. I feel like, the stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
They just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean,
allegedly?
What
do you mean allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they were.
Write.
Yes, they
so
were. That's incorrect. The first female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that would be inherited property.
The first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that inherited?
No, it wasn't. It was self-made. Yes, it was.
Self-made.
Yes, it
and
was.
She never inherited land.
Yes, she did not inherit it.
What law permitted that?
What
law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were influential in history.
Let's get on to the vote. So what I don't understand is, a part of your message. I've researched you today. And hang on a minute.
Okay.
Your big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't made the point yet.
Okay.
Because of feminism. Okay. What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. How is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives. They have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around. They don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again, men do all of the
feminists.
Well, then okay, I'd love for the feminists. Please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society. They're open. They're hiring because I don't equate for. I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work. So no, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that.
That's very true. And this woman who Pearl was talking to, I mean, it's not really a conversation. It's more like, the woman's trying to shout at her and talk over her. But I really, really, really cannot stand her. I think that she is so grinding. She just grinds my gears and makes me annoyed. Just hearing her voice makes me annoyed. Recently, she got into a bit of a spat with Lawrence Fox, who is an acquaintance of mine, and basically she was like calling out men, and basically a lot of the things she said about men was just horrendous, basically laughing when a guy was talking about how men should have like a special category of mental health help to go to, so that it's not like mixed women and men, because they have completely different problems when it comes to their issues in life, and that can obviously lead to mental health issues as well. And he was saying that men should have their own separate place to go to so they felt more comfortable, and she was basically laughing and saying, no, it should all be the same, like, men aren't special kind of thing. And basically, he was talking about men committing what, and she was smiling as he was saying it as if it was funny or something, and he, you could see he was genuinely taken aback because he couldn't believe how cold this woman was. So yeah, a lot of people went at her on Twitter and Instagram, and for, I understand why, because I kind of felt angry hearing that too. And then she basically has like a long history of saying to people that she wouldn't shag them, saying to men, oh, I wouldn't shag you, blah, 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 just to make them feel bad about themselves. And so Lawrence Fox was on live TV talking about how horrible of a woman she is and how she hates men, looking at what she says about them. And he said that he wouldn't shag her fair enough, right? What man, he said, like, what self-respecting man would want to shag a woman like her, kind of thing. And she took it so badly, considering she says that about other men. She took it so badly, and she was like, she went on every single news channel saying how offended she is, and like crying on TV and things. If you want to be so masculine and you want to dish it out, you have to take it. And this woman does not know how to take it. It's just hard to watch.
That I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely not.
But
you said you were a volleyball.
Wow.
You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think.
But
that
I don't have more strength. I don't have more strength than the average man.
I'm not going to take your right away to do it.
I don't have more strength than the average man. But again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be equal.
But you want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate, and the average marriage is 8 years.
Why is that all down to the women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why feminists
you asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish that first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
That's so true. That's just like a sad low blow that she had to resort to because she couldn't think of any other way to win this argument. It's so true what Pearl's saying. If you don't believe in marriage in what it really is, and you get married anyway thinking that it's like a game or something, and then decide that that's not what you really want to do, and you decide to go for a divorce, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's like saying you don't believe in God, but I don't know, going to church every Sunday. Why would you do it if you don't believe in God? It's a weird dynamic, kind of. I don't understand that. And she's just pointing that out and saying that so many people get married and they don't even know the true definition of what marriage is. And in fact, it's quite offensive as a Christian. It's quite offensive that you don't really believe in marriage, but you're getting married anyway. I'm offended.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think
hang on. Okay, if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely. And
so she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Yeah, but you can't.
You might not like them.
But I'm here to challenge
Isn't she exercising her right as a... Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
No, don't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you, there is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering
I would actually love to see Ava Satin on an oil rig.
No, seriously.
So would I.
There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it. And me, I'm
doing the same job that I'm doing right now.
When you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice. And that's the thing, like, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava.
I completely agree with that. I personally believe that love actually is a choice, that you can make that choice to love your partner every day. It's completely a choice. You can choose to not put any effort in, and obviously it will fizzle out on its own and you'll lose that marriage. Or you can choose to put effort in and go the extra mile and show your partner how much you care about them, and do things that, other people probably wouldn't do for their partners, but you do them because you believe that, your partner is worth it, and you want to show your partner how special they are to you. You have that choice, and you can go either way. And obviously if you make certain choices to focus on other things and not put that much effort into a relationship or a marriage, it's not going to stay. And you have to nurture it. It really, really, really is like a plant or a flower. You need to nurture it every single day. There's no day off from it. If you have a day off, then it can lead to bigger problems. You need to constantly nurture it, constantly put effort into it, constantly show that, forgiveness and understanding. Otherwise, it will fizzle out. And what she's saying here is it's a choice. Love is a choice. Marriage is a choice. You can make that choice to put that effort into it, and it will stay. Love is completely a choice. I really, really do believe that.
I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate, where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff. When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I mean, I believe in agency, so I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand...
I'd like to say, even before the 1920s,
do you know what I mean?
Women could speak openly. This idea that, like, women couldn't talk the last 500 years, there have been women throughout history...
the American state education system has failed before.
There have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know what I don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have abortions, you say that they have STDs.
The question is, are they fat? Yes or no? The average American woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest. We now celebrate morbid obesity as some kind of body positive thing, and it is complete nonsense. So actually, on that point again, there's a bit of truth in that.
And this is the problem.
How have we come to celebrate morbid obesity as body positive?
It's crazy what I'm seeing on Instagram. Every single underwear ad that I'm seeing recently has overweight people on it. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. I don't want to see it. And I think that if you're encouraging people or saying that you can be a model when you're that overweight, it's so bad for society. You're literally making people unhealthy. You're making people lazy and think that they can stay in these bad habits and stay unhealthy and eat badly and not exercise because, they feel they can get away with having this massive body and, be completely unhealthy. If you encourage things like that and you show things like that on social media, it's going to influence people into thinking that it's okay to be like that. I mean, I guess it is okay. It's not like the end of the world if people are, but it shouldn't be celebrated. It should not be sort of revered like that as it is right now. And it should actually be discouraged, and people should be made to feel like they should change that about themselves because it's a choice. You can literally, again, just like love, being overweight is a choice as well. You can choose to change your diet. There are certain diets which are amazing for weight loss, like keto, or carnivore diets are amazing for weight loss as well. People have literally shredded their fat off just by changing the diet, not even exercising much. But obviously exercise helps too. And that's also a choice. But people they've been conditioned to believe that it's not even a choice to be overweight at this point. I'm seeing people literally say that it's not a choice on social media. And I'm like, what? I'm telling you now, if you lived with me and I put you on a strict diet and I made you exercise every single day, you'd realize it is a choice very, very quickly.
Nonsense.
We're not talking about morbid obese. I was actually watching your podcast earlier and you spoke to someone who was, I would say, probably a size 12, and you called her fat, obese, and a divorcee.
She was fat, obese, and a divorcee.
I
mean, I don't know what to say. This is the thing, women, we don't want to live in reality. We don't want to say things that are true. Was she fat? Yes. Was she a divorcee? Yes. These things are just objective facts.
Okay, I'm going to have to objectively...
And she insulted me first. They always do.
I'm going to have to objectively end the debate, but it was an interesting conversation. I think we should get you two back together as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much, Pearl.
I love Pearl. It's so refreshing to hear someone just literally speak as honestly as she does, and she's not even scared of the consequences, which I love. It's so hard to come by nowadays. But yes, so... I saw a comment saying 2 women on the BBC asked each other if they would shag Lawrence Fox, and there were no complaints. Of course there were no complaints, because when it's about a man, it's okay. But as soon as a man said it about a woman, her, Ava Santina, on TV, he was literally slated. He was, you know, every single newspaper was going at him. There were so many complaints to Ofcom saying that they should sack him. And guess what? He got sacked. He got sacked, and then the presenter who was presenting the show that he was on, Dan Wootton, he got sacked too for not apparently telling him to his face that he shouldn't be saying these things, and for sort of smiling and laughing with him. So that was enough to get him sacked as well. And then Calvin Robinson, who is another friend of mine, Reverend Calvin Robinson, he also has a show on GB News, and he basically said on Twitter that he's not going to go onto his show on GB News unless they bring these people back, because he doesn't agree with this cancel culture. And guess what? He got sacked as well. Unbelievable. It's just crazy. Like, I think there was an agenda behind that, though, because very, very, very recently before that, GB News was taken over by another company. I think it was Sky News. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Sky News. And ever since that company took over, bam, all of the best presenters who are the biggest truth tellers got cancelled and sacked. So, yeah.